Today we're going to rig an Optimist sail. As you can see, this one is completely off the spars. So here are the parts we need. Obviously we need the sail, we need the sprit, the boom and the mast, a wind indicator, and a sail tie for every grommet on the sail. We use the 3mm sail ties in the corners and 1.5mm sail ties for the rest of them. Also the outhaul in the corner. Here's an example why we need to do that. This came off of the clew on the sail, and you see there's a heavy wear on this line. This would sooner or later bust, so we need to check this and replace all the bad sail ties. This one's gone. One more thing we'll need to do this right is an extra sail tie that I will use for tightening all the other ones that will remain on the sail. So first things first, I like to lay my sail down on starboard and then put the boom and the mast alongside. Here, even slide the boom preventer line up the mast, over the pin. Now we got the mast and boom in correct positions. And the first things we're going to do, we're gonna connect the sail in the corners. So I'm gonna rig the outhaul. See, the outhaul line has a stopper knot on one end. It comes from the end of the boom, goes through the grommet and the clew, goes back towards the back of the boom, turns around and goes right into the cleat here. That's my outhaul. I'm gonna put a stopper knot here. It doesn't slide out. Then we're gonna attach our new clew line twice around. You can go either inside or outside of the outhaul line. Actually, I do prefer to go inside, so let me redo this real quick. All right, once we're there, a simple square knot. And this is where our extra line comes in handy. I'm gonna stick the extra line under the knot here, put my foot against the boom and pull as hard as I can. You will see that the knot moves a little bit and sets in this final position, so it should not really ease anymore. And we're looking for about a 3 to 5mm gap here. You can see we have a gap in between the mast and the sail. Once I'm happy with the position, I'm gonna use the loose ends of the line and put a half hitch on each of them to secure the knot into place, and it should not move. And we're gonna continue now in a tack. Obviously, we're going to have two sail ties on the tack. First one attaches to the boom. Again, twice around. A square knot. I use my extra sail tie to tighten that knot. We're gonna leave a little gap at the tag, not as much as on the clew. You see it's about 2mm. That's exactly what we need to do. Now we can attach the tag to the mast. I'm gonna go inside of the preventer line. And go really tight on this one. Here's my square knot. I'm gonna use my extra sail tie and pull this real hard to make sure we're in the right position. We want to have a little gap. As you can see, we're about 3mm off, which is more than I want. So just quickly redo this one. and start the lead even a little tighter than we started before. Now the gap is down to about 2 millimeters, and we can go with the top of the sail. Now on the head of the sail, I'm going to use my wind indicator to secure the top sail tie into place. Simply put a little loop through the hole, through the wind indicator through it. And I'm gonna do the same for my top preventer here. You can see how that wind indicator now goes through both of the lines, securing them in place. And now I'm going to start with the top sail tie, and again simple twice around, and a square knot. Okay, you see I started really tight. Now using my extra sail tie, I'm gonna stretch this, and now I'm looking for that millimeter gap here. I'm a little too loose, so I'll start again. Another trick you can do with the extra sail tie is just put it in there even before you put the square knot on, so it's ready in place. Tighten that knot really hard. Stretch it, and now we have no gap, but the head is loose. It's not overlapping, so that's how I want to be really tight on that one. Okay, now the preventer, as you can see, fell out, so I'm going to reinsert it. There we go. Now adjusting this preventer is a really important control, because it will set our luff and it will allow us to control the luff tension. The rule of thumb is that once this preventer is on, and I have to play with it a few times, the top sail tie should be perpendicular to the mast or parallel with the top of the mast. So let's see how close we are here. See right now the top sail tie is leaning up towards that. That means if we leave it like this, our luff tension will be too tight. So this is one that you probably have to try a few times to get it right. Always start tighter to begin with. And then use the extra sail tie to set it in the final position. See, look, using a lot of power. And now you can see that my top sail tie is coming perpendicular, and this is a good point where we want that top preventer to be. Now that we set all the corners of the sail, I'll put the sprit on. Start at the peak, put the peak on, put the hooking block inside of the hull here, ease the secondary as much as you can, put the sprit on, tighten it a little bit. At the same time, I'm gonna get the vang on. As a matter of fact, I should get the vang on first. And the vang is gonna go through this little triangle here at the gooseneck and out on the starboard side with a stopper knot. That allows me a leverage here to pull. So I have my vang on, and I have my sprit on. Now the sail is in place and ready for the rest of the sail ties. Now that I have the sail attached in the corners, the boom vang and the sprit are on, we have the sail laying in the position to be attached. I'm going to start again from the back of the boom and go one by one here. Now I brought this little fit that I'm going to use as a measurement to make sure the distance in between the mast and the sail is accurate. The maximum distance allowed by the rules is 10 millimeters or 1 centimeter, which is slightly less than half of an inch. What I'm trying to achieve is about 5 millimeter gap, and this tool is 5 millimeter wide, so I'm gonna use that just to make sure that we're in the right position. So first, twice around, we're gonna go inside of the out hole again. Start with a square knot. Again, I'm gonna use the extra sail tie, put it in here, put a square knot. Now because we are leaving a gap, we don't have to go super tight to begin with, but we do need to set the knot. So again, I'm gonna use this line, pull hard against, and now I'm gonna check the gap in between the sail and the boom, and I want it to be 5 millimeters. You can see this tool fits right in. So we're about 5 millimeters. That's the right distance. I'm happy with that. Again, you can also confirm it has to be enough to go over the reason why we keep in the gap is to go freely over these fair leads for the boom vang and the boom bridles. So as long as we have enough gap to go over it, maybe this is a little too tight. I'm gonna loosen up and retighten this one, give it a little extra gap. Here, I'm going to use my extra sail tie. See, I loosened up that just a little bit. Now when I pull against it, it's going to set. Now it allowed a little extra distance. You see, we're clear over that fair lead, but that's definitely less than a centimeter. We're right now at about, I would call it 6 millimeters, well in the measurement. And I'm going to secure this with a couple of half hitches. And we're going to use these half hitches on every boom vang sail tie. Okay, you also got to make sure that you go inside of the bridle, so there's nothing in between the sail tie and the boom when you tie it on. Just like that, we're done with the boom vang. Again, a little recap. About a 5 to 6 millimeter gap in between the sail and the actual boom so that the sail can flip loosely over as you tack. Every knot is secured with an extra half hitch on each loose end so that this setup will actually last without needing to be readjusted. And I would only redo it before every regatta just to make sure if anything got loose there. But if it's done like this, we should not be losing sail ties, and everything should be good for quite a while. Now we're gonna go back to the mast. Obviously, we already got the corners attached, and now we're gonna start attaching the sail. I'm gonna start on the top here. Now the difference in between the boom and the mast is that the mast will be tighter than the boom. From my experience, if you do a good solid job and attach the sail with an even gap from the top of the bottom, you can't go wrong with that. And I would not experiment with much other than that. So let's just go and with a basic setup. I'm gonna aim for about 2mm gap here, and let's see how it goes. Again, I like to go twice around. And now we're gonna start a little tighter here, obviously, than we do on the boom. We are not looking for a lot of gap. Again, I'm gonna insert this extra sail tie in early. So I tie this around it pretty much as tight as I can. And now I'm gonna use this stretch here and verify the distance. As you see, there is 2mm gap, and that's exactly what I'm aiming for. Now, unlike on the boom sail ties, I will not be putting any safety safety knots on the end of this one. Just by tightening it like that, it should be sufficient for the day. And these are sail ties that need to be redone every day, just to make sure that the sail is put on well for the conditions that we have. If I did not redo this sail tie, this one being tighter than the two around, there would be wrinkles coming off of the sail ties, the grommets, which are tighter, and making the whole sail shape off. So it's worth redoing it and doing it right in the first place. And just like that, our sail is on. And now we're ready to put the mast, put the rig into the boat, and have the coach check it out, make sure everything's done right. But I would be very confident that this sail is ready to race.